to overcome and to get better and to like demand respect for myself. Like that's what it is. Like your willingness to change is more so out of respect for yourself, right? Because you've gotten to such a point where you've disrespected your body, you've disrespected your mind. You're making decisions that are just disrespectful to you and don't align to you, that you're never going to change in the right direction.
What's up, dude?
What is up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
It's another Friday, man. Dude, I would swear I live in a time warp. Every single
Really?
week, I'm like, yeah. So every week, my check-ins with my coach are on Fridays. So it's like always at the end of the week, and I'm like, where did the week go? I'm just sitting here, just like, where did Monday through Thursday go and everything? Because it's like I answer my athletes check-ins on Friday. Saturday, I'm off from everything. Sunday, answer athlete check-ins. Monday, I'm back into work. And it's like Monday through Thursday just goes by, man.
Yeah.
It's like, where did those like days go? So I swear I'm living in a time warp. I'm like, oh, it's
Dude,
already Friday.
it is so interesting. Like, there's a perception of time that as we get older and if we have the same routine, this is like a whole tangent that I talked about the other day. And I think I scared somebody by talking about it. But like, if we go through the same thing all the time goes by so fast, right? But when we were younger, going through school, learning new things, changing schools through elementary, middle, high school, like Christmas came once every 3 years. And now it comes like once every 3 months, you know? But it's like,
Yeah.
I think doing new things completely changes our perception of time and our mindset on it. And like, without us even really knowing it, because I'm the same thing. I'm like, dude, like, it's already Monday again. I got to get time cards for all my employees. Okay, perfect. Oh, it's Friday. Whoo, where are deals at? Like, oh crap, I'm gonna get yelled at. Like, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
I've had 2
Yeah,
days. It's so weird.
exactly. Like literally like July, we saw Drake in concert and we were
Oh,
like,
nice.
and every single week since then, we've been like, wow, it's been a week since we saw Drake. It's been 2 weeks. It's been a month. It's like, it's been 2 months. It's like, it's almost been 3 months since we've done that. And you're like, where did those 3 months go? Like literally like in 2 weeks, it will be 3 months. And you're like, where did this time go? So it is crazy. Like, but I think it's when you're really into your life and you're structured, like you said, like when you're structured, you have a routine, you're doing what you love and you're doing it around people that you like doing it with. It's meant to be that way. Like
Yeah.
that's why a lot of people say like take in moments and don't let things kind of like, or learn to be more present, because when you get to this chapter where you finally start to like understand and you start to enjoy life with people that you find and you're really all connected, it does go by.
Yeah.
But like you're making core memories with people, but still it's just like it goes,
Yeah.
it's really like that. Like the summer I moved here in May. I feel like it's just been May. I'm like, where did May through September? I'm like, we're in October about to be. Like, I'm like, what? I was like, see, that's exactly why, because I just got a couch and I'm like, that's why I just got a couch and I'm like, damn, it's been a long while. So
I
it's
saw that.
like,
Looks good.
yeah, I finally, after 4 months, I'm like, let me just purchase this. Well, I got it last month, but I had to wait a month to get it in. So it's just like, it's fine. Finally, we're there. We finally have a home. So I'm
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I've been following you, like I was telling you before we started recording, like it feels like 5 years now. Again, maybe I'm wrong with my perception of time again, but it's been a long time. And I remember seeing you in like the beginning stages of your bodybuilding journey and even into the coaching journey. And it's been amazing seeing the changes that you've made, especially like I took like a hiatus from social media for a few years to focus on work, relationships, life, all that stuff, and just get a different feel for life. And it was very rewarding. But then I came back and I'm like, man, some people have really changed. Some people have really done good stuff. And you're one of those guys. Like,
Thank you.
you've really done a number. Like, what has been, and we'll get into this in a minute, but like, what was the biggest motivating factor for you to really get like moving?
Trying to figure out who I am and what I wanted to achieve. I've been through those through those years, those 4 years, right? I've been through chapters, multiple
Mhm.
different chapters involved with what what I've done as a coach, knowledge base that I've gathered, and everything around that. So really, it's all about just becoming like the best version of myself through it, and like
The noble pursuit.
wanting to live the life that I want to live. Um, and I've made choices, and I was stuck for a while. I don't get me wrong. I was in this for it, but that's what shows when it comes down to like just show up. Like
Mhm.
when I tell people to just show up for a while, it eventually pays off in the end.
Yeah.
Or wherever you want to get to, and like consistency pays off, right? Because I probably have I can't tell you when the last time I've gone more than like 3 days without posting on Instagram in the last 4 years. Like to
Yeah.
truly be honest, I don't think I've gone more than 3 days without posting. Once I started to get consistent and once I started to see where things were.
Yeah.
Um and a lot of it like just goes back to college and like where I started there and where I've come from, and just seeing my journey over the last 8 years as a human is really like rewarding to look back on, because it's just like you sometimes forget it because we're
Oh,
always
yeah.
looking forward too much. So now I'm now always thinking about like the next thing
Mhm.
and consistently trying to grow and outdo who I am now, so that I get to where I want to get to, because I'm still not there and we're never going to get
Yeah.
there. But
Exactly.
you
That's
can
the
try
beauty
your
of it.
hardest you can try your hardest to figure it out, right?
Mhm.
And that's all we're trying to do in life. Is most people want to just figure things out, and
Yeah.
everyone's trying to figure it out, right? They're trying to find. I was actually going to post this the other day. It's like everyone's trying to figure out the Krabby Patty formula, right? In all reality, we are all plankton.
Yep.
Like bringing
Man.
it back to my child, like we are literally all plankton trying to just touch base with whatever we believe in and be like, can I just have this path?
Mhm.
Can I just have this? And just tell me where to go and tell me how to get there. People want that roadmap, and you're
Yep.
never going to get it. Like, that's the thing, because you could find that. And I actually was discussing this yesterday on my podcast. The only way you will know what that roadmap leads to is in the final analysis. Basically, once you're dead, whatever you believe in, you'll finally see if you made the decisions you were supposed to make, the
Mhm.
decisions you could have made, the pathways you could have been down, what would happen if you made the choices that whatever the universe told you to make in those moments, and if you ignored them, it's like it all comes down to that person that you'll see. And
I love
so
that.
we want to try to get as close as possible to that person, right? But there's no way we'll get to it because we aren't perfect. We can only be better.
Yep.
So it doesn't allow us to find that perfection.
That's a
So
mindset
it's been a
everybody
while.
needs.
I've been at this for a while. Still not where I want to be, but we're getting there every single day.
Yeah. It's inevitable. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it, is that like we're always chasing it. There's always something to chase.
hmm
The finish line always gets pushed back inch by inch as we move forward, inch by inch.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Because we set new barriers. We set
Exactly.
new we set new levels, and we just become better, right? And when you become better, you expect more. And when you and this is where some people kind of lose it, right? Is they expect things to happen, or they expect things to be better, right? By doing the work.
Mhm.
And I actually was talking to a friend about this too on my on my podcast. Funny enough, because all these topics come up when
Yeah.
I talk on conversations. But one of the big things that I've kind of come to terms with is, for some people, no matter what, and this is a stoic thing, it's you have the rights to the work of your labor. Like you have the rights to the labor, right? But you have no right to the fruit of that labor. because everyone does work in an attempt to get to this goal, whether it's for myself, possibly bodybuilding, right? I could work every single day. I have no right to become an IFBB pro. None, right? But I have the right of continually going in every single day and knowing I progressed.
Yeah.
And that's what most people skip is they think that the fruits of the labor is always that external outcome. Whether that means for people it's the pro card. It's becoming a millionaire, right? It's even like going full time with coaching, like for some people, like to
Mm-hmm.
truly be honest, like you can give it. We're in a tough world right now. It's hard to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
But if you continually just understand that you have no guarantee to what the outcome is, that will force you to get better because you just only can control the work. And if you don't
Yeah.
get and if you don't even control the work or do the work, you can't even get to that. You can't even get to that fruits of your labor that you're expecting. So it's always an internal reward. It's never an
That
external reward.
that's really good. And I think that is a good like foundation for what I do want to talk to you mainly about, which is basically that, but a very specific part in your life. But before we get into that, what are we drinking? What did you choose?
Oh, literally, I'm just drinking water.
Oh, I thought. Oh, so I'm drinking the coffee and the caffeine. Okay, perfect.
It's 6:30 here. I probably shouldn't be. I'd be going against my protocol if I did that. I would be
Well,
probably up
this is
all night.
decaf, so
Yeah,
I'm playing everybody.
yeah, I probably should have done that. Considering, like I just mentioned, I just came from like a nap right beforehand. I'm like, probably anything warm would probably be good. But yeah, no, I really miss an energy drink right now. Like I could totally
Oh,
slam a
dude,
good energy drink so badly.
bro, I had an Alani Nu the witch's brew today, and it brewed up something special in my stomach, and maybe which leads to tell me about this gut health thing you're doing.
Oh yeah. So there's a reason why as to why I'm only drinking water and I'm not drinking anything like flavored. I would normally have probably at this time of the night, I'd probably have a Diet Coke, to truly be honest.
Oh yeah.
But so I am in a nice extensive gut protocol. Absolutely tremendous. Love it. Um I struggle with a lot of stress. Uh but I also struggled initially. This is funny because this is why this came up. I had an ego over things, right? And I had to show up that everything was nice and dandy, right? And so when I was with my coach currently, about like 2 years ago, we were heavy bulking. I mean,
Hmm.
like I was natty pushing 4,000 calories, like plus a
That's
five
difficult.
guys plus a five guys free meal pretty often. So I was
That's
pushing
tough.
like 6,000 calories some days, 7,000 calories some days, and ended up just like causing really bad digestive issues. So we thought it would improve in the fat loss phase last year. It did improve, obviously, because you're eating less carbs, you're eating less
Hmm.
food, like it's going to, right? Now, now we get to it, and I'm still been always suffering from like brain fog, like ADD. Like I have ADHD, so it's like you typically don't expect it,
Hmm.
but a lot of brain fog, ADHD, difficulty concentrating. Nothing really like extensive when it comes down to like bloating or what I thought. It's really interesting because now going through it the past few weeks, now I understand that what I was going through was definitely a little bit of like distension and bloating, but you don't
Wow.
realize it
Okay.
because it becomes so normal.
Hmm.
Um, so I actually ran and got it tested. Fortunately, I work with an HRT company that gave me enough funds to pay for like half my
Nice.
tests, and I was like, "Well, f this. I'm gonna be recovering from surgery. May as well run it." So I get it ran. Comes back with candida, H. pylori, and overgrowths.
Really?
Um, yeah, and it comes
Wow.
back pretty hard. So it was quite extensive, but it wasn't as bad as we thought. A lot of it's just inflammation, a lot of it's just stress on the body.
Hmm.
So we have decided to attack the candida and attack the overgrowth a little bit. Um, so we're 2 weeks now into it. I'm about just into the start of the kill phase because I was waiting for supplementation to come in. And I can say now being in it, it's not great.
It's not fun, dude. It's
No,
not fun.
it's good. It's good. You have days where it's great, but you can just tell like the symptoms just start to build up pretty hard
Hmm.
because I tell all my athletes this, like it's gonna want to stay.
Yeah,
And to stay, it's gonna make you feel like crap. Like literally is going to make you feel like crap because it wants you to feed it. It wants you to
it's brutal.
not continue doing what it's doing. So we're down. I mean, since I come back from North Americans, where I was at that was the last time I traveled. That was 3 weeks ago, just under 3 weeks ago. I'm down 10 pounds, eight, nine,
Wow,
10, 9, 10 pounds. At my lowest, I'm down 10, but I'm back up a pound. So I'm down 9 pounds as of this morning. But that was
that's
just from
awesome.
cleaning up diet and also just choosing better sources. Like I was just eating the same like 5, 6 sources of food. Should I be honest? Now I'm eating four. Now I'm eating 5 different protein sources, and I'm eating 4 different veggie sources, 4 different fruit sources.
Yeah.
It's like now my diversity's come about a lot, and it's helping. Now I just still have bad days, obviously, but it's obviously up to the person's stress that comes
Hmm.
down to how much they can handle with this. So we've chosen the right time while I'm recovering from surgery to do it. But there will still be points of time where it's still going to be rough. Not going to
Yeah.
lie. Having to do this probably through the holidays is going to be brutal. But we'll get to the end. We'll do it and we'll get it done. But yeah, so that's why I'm drinking water so I don't irritate my gut, which is why I can't have a Ghost Energy drink because I'm not allowed artificial
Yeah.
sweetener. Um, and honestly, it's really weird. Like I've never been a sauce guy either, like with food. But man, dude, I would love to, and I don't feel like paying for like the foodie. Like they have like
Yeah.
this low FODMAP sauce, and I'm like, man, I'm really not in the mood to pay like $7 for this thing. And I'm like, salt and pepper, salt,
Yeah.
pepper, and whatever fat source that Mark has me on. F it, it's happening. Coconut oil is good enough. I'm like, sure.
Dude, I went through this in 2017. I got real sick my senior year of college. Like set me back real hard with SIBO and
Yeah.
Candida, and it was, dude. Yeah, that kill phase is, oh, dude. Oh
It's
God.
brutal. It's
Yeah.
brutal. And it's nice though cuz I'm going through it. So I've done this before with athletes plenty of times,
Hmm.
probably like 10 times beforehand. So I have like experience, but now like I'm going through it
Yeah.
and they're like, "You're
Yeah. It's,
killing it, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." It was like, "It sucks." I'm
yep.
like, but it's worth it in the end because I realized like as I was growing, I would always get to this point where I'm like 188, 190, right? And
Mm.
if I get past that point, it just builds up inflammation. I'm like, I'm not packing on the size as well. I'm not responding as well to the food. My legs aren't growing as I thought they would be. Um, and so, yeah, that also caused a lot of things. Like I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't want to drop my ego for the longest time to kind of be that way, which is what a lot of people do. I'm starting to see it more and more now that I did it. Is that a lot of people won't say things because they kind of want to show up for the coach and they want to show that they're the man, right? And they don't want to
Yeah.
say like they have loose stools or they don't want to say that they have a little bit of bloating or like these meals are giving me struggle or these foods are doing things because I enjoy them so much. So people allow like their ego to get in the way when it comes down to actually healing the body.
Yep.
And so
That's what your
that's
coach
like,
is there for. Your
yeah,
coach is there to help you heal your body. Hopefully, they should be. If not, fire a coach, get one that will. But like that's the point. Like, yeah, drop the ego, as with everything.
yeah. And it's just like sometimes like, and you just got to advocate. Like to truly be honest, we probably weren't going to run it, but I could just feel things, and I was like, man, it's just I in my gut for like literally like 5 months, I was like, I should probably get this done.
Yeah, no
And so
pun
I was like,
intended.
you know what? I'm just going to listen to what my intuition says and just get it done. And thank God I
Yep.
did because I'm supposed to be prepping next year for a show. So
Oh, nice.
if I decided to prep next year and I didn't get all this stuff done, I would probably be really, really bad by the time I got to the end. I probably wouldn't be able to control my midsection by the time I got to the end. Even though I have great midsection control anyway, so it's not like an issue. And I wasn't having like issues controlling it or hitting a vacuum or anything like that. But but like glad I listened to my intuition on it. So
Yeah.
like I always advocate, even if you don't know, and I think this probably comes with experience of me being a coach too, as well, to truly be honest, is I know when things are off. I see it in my athletes, so
Mhm.
I just had to see it for myself.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're on the right track. I hope the kill phase goes
Yeah,
as
I hope
well as
so
it
too.
possibly can for you.
I hope so too. I hope it's like just quick 12. I hope it's just a quick 12 weeks and I'm freaking out, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, walk me through this post that you made about the willingness to change. This was such a well written. I mean, as a lot of your content, it's so well written, and you do a very good job about hitting the emotions and bringing up the pain point that everyone experiences. Like, because it's so relatable. Like, everyone's gone through this, or at least they should be trying to go through this. Like, they need to hit this point.
Hmm.
So, tell that story. I want to hear the story.
Well, where do you want me to start in that post? Give me a line.
You start wherever you want, dude. Start from the very beginning. This is all about you, man.
Let me pop this up here because I need to remind myself what I even said because I get this way. Um, man, okay. I this story. This is probably the ultimate turning point in my life. Um,
Hmm.
so this moment, I was a so I went through high school. Okay, I was always bullied. I was severely bullied. Um, went through a suicide attempt. Everything.
Mm.
Severely bullied for 7 years, 6 7 years. Um, from about sixth grade to right to like my senior year, and just like the fall of my senior year of high school. So I wasn't like the popular kid, so I never really like partied or hung out with people or did anything. So I graduate high school. Not even 3 weeks after I am starting college, because to go to Penn State and to go to main campus, I had to do summer class.
Mm.
Worth it, 100% worth it, because being at the main campus is wild, absolutely lit. Um, well, what happens when you let a kid that doesn't really get to experience life in high school get to experience life his freshman year of college?
Oh, that
Okay,
hits hard.
and he just parties, drinks, skips class a lot, and yeah, and doesn't have his life in order. At 18, that's a lot of responsibility you put on someone, to going away. You're 3 hours from home when you're just so used to being in your room, not doing much, and you finally get friends that you want to go do things with. Sacrifice a
Mhm.
lot of things outside of that. So I was a really big partier. Let's just say I was drinking probably a 30 rack. I was like 140 pounds, okay, 150 pounds, mind you. Um, my freshman year, I was probably drinking a 30 rack every like 3 days. So I was like pounding.
That's
I was
intense.
pounding out. I was pounding alcohol. Okay. Um, and it was getting a bit too much. And I was blacking out a lot. I was going through a lot of things. And one day, I'm sitting there, my spring semester. This was like the beginning of the spring semester. Things aren't going too hot. I try to get internships my sophomore year. It's not happening. And you need an internship to graduate, right? So you either
What are you in
have
school for?
so I'm in
What are you
school for
studying?
I'm studying intelligence analytics and modeling.
Okay.
So basically I figure out terrorist plots, I figure out like what people are doing, saving the world in a way.
Do you do
Okay.
that currently?
Uh I can't really say what I do.
There he is. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not actually allowed to say what I do. I could just say I am a consultant with the government. Um, so that's my job currently. But I remember
It's so
being
fucking cool.
I
Sorry.
I know. I know. It is pretty cool when you get the chance to kind of say that. I never really get that opportunity to like say that. Oh, I can't really talk about my job.
Yeah.
Um, but so I'm sitting there and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, I don't have an internship for this year. And I'm just seeing where my grades are at. Man, I barely passed statistics that year. I got like a C in statistics, like literally scraped the bin, got a 72. Okay.
Hmm.
I had to retake a programming class the summer beforehand because I literally got a D in it. So I had to retake it because it's part of my major. So if I didn't take it, I wouldn't be able to advance. So I literally would be
Jeez.
held back from it, and I'd be wasting my time. Um, so I get there, and like fall, we move into our apartment with my boys, start drinking even more, right? We
Mm.
start spending money and everything. I'm just sitting there and I'm just watching, slowly start to sit back, and my life's starting to like go, right? Everything is just starting to literally go. My bank account, everything is draining. Okay. I'm struggling with class. I'm struggling to find anything with it. I'm not even in the gym at this point, right? I'm barely even going to the gym. I was barely going to the gym my freshman year. So it's just like I lost that too as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to my professor because I'm worried about this internship thing. And I'm like, I got to see if he can give me like an opportunity to work with him for the summer as like an intern opportunity, or work with one of the professors over the summer, because they do that. Um, Especially if you're close with them. So I go to the one had class with the summer I came here. So he saw a lot of promise in me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He saw a lot of potential, and he saw like myself as a human, and we really connected very well. And so we sit down in his office, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And he's just like, right now, looking where you're at, because I've seen you, he's like, you're not going to succeed in this. He's like, the way
Jeez.
that you're going right now, he's like, you're not even going to make it through all 4 years. And because I have like a 2.7 GPA, like no one's going to hire me, right? No one hires anybody with a 2.7 GPA. Okay. Especially in this major. You got to
Mm.
be really smart. You got to learn patterns. You got to know what you're doing. And so I sit there, and he's like, you have to make a change. He's like, you have to decide like what you want. And I sat there like freaking out, because I was like, what the hell do I do? Right. And it really caused me, like, in that moment, I was like, I'm either good enough or I'm not. And I know I am. There's a reason why I was able to get put on this campus and do what I could do. And there's a reason why I've been through everything I've been through. And so honestly, I just got my shit together. Like, that moment made me invest fully into my courses. Like, legitimate. Like, I had something to prove, right? I had to prove him wrong, because he said I didn't belong anymore. So I didn't use it as him telling me I wasn't worth it. I used that as motivation to tell myself I am worth it. And so then comes a few months later. Okay. So we're coming a few months later. I'm doing great. My courses are going good. Everything's going good. Only thing that's going bad is my finances. My finances is jack shit. I have ran through all the money that I had. So I literally
Are
have
you working?
I'll get there. I have
Sorry.
500 I have $500 to my name. Okay. I text
Yeah.
my mom, and I'm like, what do I do? And she's like, well, we're not helping you. She's like, you're 20. She's like, you got to figure it out. And so my buddy I knew from my freshman year, who I went to go party with a lot, he was actually a bouncer at a bar. So I texted him, and I'm like, is your bar hiring? And he's like, yeah. So I go and I email them, and I'm 150 pounds, right? I go and I get an interview. Okay. I go and interview one night, and I get the job, right?
As a bouncer?
Hiring. What?
As a bouncer?
Yeah. As a bouncer. Yep.
Okay, sweet.
Everything with the bar starts from bouncer, and you work your way up.
Hmm.
So over like a 2-year time span, I worked my way up to bar back and sometimes bartender.
Nice.
And so, well, what comes with that now? Now I have an obligation to show up from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. at somewhere. Actually, 7 p.m. to like 4 a.m. or 3:30, right? Because we're cleaning the bar after. We're getting everything set for the next night. So it's my schedule has to be there. Fortunately, I didn't have class for a while until like 11 o'clock in the afternoon that semester. If I didn't have that, I would literally be screwed, right? because I didn't know how to schedule anything. I didn't know how to take control. And literally, that job completely changed my life. Utterly changed my life. And I tell people that that job and getting hired there was the best thing to probably ever happen in my life in terms of not I made it through the suicide attempt when I was 17. Obviously I was really thankful for that. But in terms of putting me on the direction that I am in now, it was that. Because it
Hmm.
gave me I had to figure out my time. Right? I didn't have time to go party. Number one, I became sober. I stopped drinking for like 6 months when I started working there. Right? Like the only time I would drink would be once after Saturday shifts when we don't open on Sunday or Monday. So we would have a night, right? So
Hmm.
every like week we would probably do that, but I gone from drinking 4 or 5 nights a week to one, right? And the other
That's
four or
big.
five nights that would be during the week, everything was dedicated to schoolwork and actually like being attentive, being able to have conversations in my classes, being able to focus and like things that I was really difficult in, like I did not do well in, right? I like Spanish per se, like things like those things, like statistics, like history classes, like these things where conversations were necessary in school. I had to, I had to go and I had to be attentive. And so I started to see where I was slacking. So then I got onto a routine. Okay. And then I started to get my shit together with the gym. I'm like, wow, I'm out of fucking shape. I was like 175 pounds. I was like 174 pounds at this point, or
20 more
165,
pounds.
165 pounds at this point. I ended up that summer, I ended up still working at the bar because I didn't have an internship, right? So where the fuck am I getting money, right? I ain't going to live at home with my parents. And the internship that I had like my freshman year, like I fortunately got a little opportunity my freshman year from my mom, and she helped me set up something. So like, but I was expecting to go back. I didn't go back because they changed the program around. So I was like, well, what the fuck do I do? So I ended up staying in my college apartment for the whole summer. Okay. And we, me and my three buddies, we do that and I just work. There's nothing there. There's nothing going on. I'm 20. I'm not going to the bar. I'm not drinking. Literally, I just started to train. I started to get back into the gym. I went down from 165. I dieted very poorly on like 1,700 calories down to like 145. And I remember getting there and I was like so small and so skinny and I looked fucking gross. But I was able to lose like the beer gut and
Hmm.
everything. So those two moments when I sat down with my professor and when I got hired caused a change. Like I had to be willing to do what I had to do now. Like I didn't have a choice, right? Most people always have like a backup option or they always have some safety net in terms of things, right? I didn't have that because if I didn't actually get my shit together, well, guess what? I'm graduating and I ain't getting a job. And if I graduate and I don't have a job, I'm living at home with my parents and fucking just, you know, doing nothing.
Yep.
Okay. And so that job actually as a bouncer, I ended up meeting one of the guys who worked for the company I work for now. He was an intern. And so he
Dude.
got me kind of in with that. So, and it was a blessing, man. I got this
Yeah.
internship with this company that I work for now, my junior year going into my senior year. It was a blessing. Okay. But this is how I took it again is I had to prove myself. I went into that knowingly I have to get a job. So I went in there and I networked with like 60 or 70 like employees. Most people were so concerned about like the project you were working on. I was so concerned on the networking opportunity and
Yeah.
finding my right place in the company. Right. And I ended up getting hired right at the end of the internship. Actually, we ended up being a top 10 team that got to present in front of everyone, like of the internship. So there's like 600 interns. We were part of the top 10. There's 4 kids per team. So we were the top 40 in the top 40 kids. So you're
That's
basically
amazing.
offered a job. But I had to go through another spell there, right? I went up and down. So I got my shit together, right? My sophomore year, I'm still 20. I turned 21. Now I can get to the bar and I could drink for free at the bar. So I just start spiraling down again, right? So, and I realized I was having a lot of anxiety. And it's, I got so bad during that internship. I remember blacking out, getting on the wrong train, had to walk 40 minutes home. And the next day I woke up and I was like, I can't do this. I legitimately quit drinking for the whole rest of the summer, which was really hard for me because I was in a new city. I was trying to network. I was trying to just live life a little
Mhm.
bit. I had to do it again, right? I continually had to do it again. And I had to be willing to. And I had a conversation with my boss too there, where it's just like I was doing way too much. And I had a conversation with myself. I started to get into meditation. Like I started to just figure out everything. And I called my mom, and my mom was my mom was so worried about me, dude. They don't say anything. They just observe until they're ready to like tell you that like they've been worried about the choices that you're making or what they're seeing. Right? They won't tell you that because they need you to see it for yourself. And so
Mhm.
I finally got to that point where I went through that moment. The next day I woke up and I was like, I cannot do that. So for the last 6 weeks of that internship, I quit drinking. Like literally quit drinking and started to figure out everything with training again. I hired another coach. I um, started podcasting at the end of the summer. Started listening to a whole bunch of podcasts with like Joe Dispenza, um, Aaron Diamond, Jordan Duggar, Joe Rogan, like Sam Harris, like all these guys, right? And this is like, honestly, this is like peak Joe Rogan. I feel like 2019
Yeah.
is like peak Joe Rogan for me, where there were no holds barred. It was like he's having really great conversations with Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson, and all these guys. And I was learning a bunch from that. Okay. And so, yeah, it's, those moments, I literally have three key moments for me. It was sitting in the office of my professor, which I described in that one. That was my big change that changed one of the whole directions of my life. The job set me up for this and gave me some stability in my life. Gave me my first chance at like responsibility of something because I ended up working there for 2 years, right? Obviously, it ended kind of due to yada 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 in
Yeah.
2020, but and then in 2019 again, when I literally had to look myself in the mirror after a night of drinking, being blacked out on the wrong train, fucking just like, wow, yeah, you're fucked up, and I was like, yeah, I was like, I am, and you really don't get to it unless you're willing to change. Right? Each time I had to be
Yeah.
willing to do something different to overcome and to get better and to like demand respect for myself. Like that's what it is. Like your willingness to change is more so out of respect for yourself. Right? Because you've gotten to such a point where you've disrespected your body, you've disrespected your mind, you're making decisions that are just disrespectful to you and don't align to you, that you're never going to change in the right direction. So like you have to learn to respect you, right? And it tells you that, right? When you get anxiety, when you get those nights where you don't remember things and you get anxiety from that, like
Yeah.
sitting back, looking at my professor's office, like all those feelings are me, it's my body trying to tell me, hey kid, you're right here. You can get right back on the path and you can do it. It's just whether or not you're willing to do what it's going to take. So I ended up like getting Dean's List that semester onward. The last 5 semesters of college, I ended up getting Dean's List.
That's awesome,
So it was
dude.
great. And I switched it around. I ended up with like a 3.4 or 3.5 GPA at the end because I literally went from 2.7s to like 3.8s a semester. Like literally had like 4 straight ones, because I invested time where it needed to be invested, and I made the changes that I need to make. And so first one was getting my shit together, was realizing I needed to prove something to myself. Second one was willing to change in terms of responsibility for myself, responsibility for what I was doing, responsibility for also relying on a team that I needed to at the bar, and learning to time manage and figure out my life. And then the third one was sitting there afterwards thinking of what I needed to do. So I got back into the gym, started podcasting, started going to the gym when I got back to school at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and not going out on the nights I had off. I said no to a lot my senior year that I really do regret. I will say I regret some of it.
Like what?
I regret some of it. Given what we didn't get to finish our senior year, just with graduation and everything, I was going to take the last 2 months and kind of just coast through a little bit. Like, I was already set, right? I had my job, I had everything. The grades were fine. Like, even if I did poorly the last few months, like, I would be good, right? I just needed to graduate at that point because I put in the work over the last 2 years to get to that point. And so, like, I really said no to going out with a lot of my boys. Like, I said no to a lot of memories. I said no to a lot of football games because I had to work. I said no to a lot of going out because I just wanted to sleep. Like, to truly be honest, I was working till 4 a.m. I was up at 7:30 for class at 8. Like, like I was digging myself in a hole. And so I had to say no to a lot of things, but it brought me my podcast. Man, when I said
Exactly.
no, it set me up. It set me up a lot with my podcast because I started that fall of my senior year, and I developed that through my senior year. So, like, saying that really put the structure in it. I would go with my friend to the gym at 6 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, like in the below freezing weather, freaking walking to the gym, listening to some YouTube motivation,
Some
trying to get
CT
my shit.
Fletcher yelling at you.
No, literally some like Charles Bukowski. I think that's how you say his name. I forget how you say his name. Like the "Go All the Way" speech. Like, I
Oh
literally
yeah.
would listen to that every single morning on my walk. Like, just saying, "You're gonna ride like into the flames" or whatever. Like, there's some really big line there that really always pumped me up every single day. So I really struggled a lot. I struggled a lot, but a lot of it was just self-inflicted struggle. I was through a lot of non-self-inflicted struggle during my childhood that led to me inflicting my own trauma, and my own damage to myself. So when it comes down to it, the only person that's going to change is you, and you have to see the signs. You have to see the signs, and nothing's going to change. And the universe is going to give you opportunity after opportunity after opportunity until enough is enough. And you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it pretty hard. And you're going to be wondering who you are, what you are about, and you're going to find everything that you need to know about you.
You got to demand it for yourself. If you desire a lot, you have to demand the best out of yourself. But I think it's cool. Like, looking back and connecting all the dots together. Like, in all these moments, it is tough in those moments. It's very difficult. But now you look back, and of course, hindsight's 2020. You regret some of the time you didn't spend with your friends and whatnot. But that built a lot of character too. Like you said, it led you to other places. But then, like, it's just so wild how things just pan out. Like, if you're doing it, like you said, it's inevitable. Like, you don't have any right to the fruits of the labor, but you have rights to the labor. You have rights to get up and go train hard early in the morning, work at a bar, and then it just pans out. You meet people. Like, you find your passion again for bodybuilding. Like, it's incredible to look back and see that. And I think sometimes that's also more fuel for the fire for people to keep the change going. Like, to keep it may not be the catalyst of change, but it can definitely help keep it moving.
Well, it's a burden, right? That's what I said in there. Like, in my post, it says you are in a position right now where you do have the power to accept the willingness to change or continue to carry the burden of staying the same. Either way, it's a burden. It just depends which burden you want to carry. Really. Like, if I'm being honest, it's not easy to change, right? Because it goes against your ego.
Mm-hmm.
It goes against what you've been about, right? So it goes against self now in terms of true alignment to yourself. So it's a burden. It's why it's tough. It's why people don't want to carry it, right? It's why people don't go chase after the job they want to do or don't go chase after the things that they want to get, right? It's why people settle because eventually, and I think for enough people, right, the burden becomes too much to bear. But that's what life is, right? And this is I feel like I'm like Jordan Peterson right now. I'm fucking just going off the rails. But but it's that's the purpose in life. The purpose in life is to take the burden of becoming better.
Mm-hmm.
It's to willingly put that on your back and carry that with you through life. Because if you don't, where do you find purpose? Like
Exactly.
truly, where exactly do you derive purpose? Because like I mentioned to start this, a lot of purpose is in that fruits of the labor,
Mm-hmm.
right? People think it's an external purpose when the internal purpose is the noble pursuit, which is to become the best version of yourself possible. Right? That's why I call it that's why I call it a noble pursuit. Because it's the only
Yeah.
thing honorable to you in life is to accept that burden. And it's your burden to bear. And most people try to blame someone else or try to blame a circumstance as to why they can't do it. Why? Right? But there's a lot of people that defy that as to it and they see incredible change in their life and they become successful. And so, even I have tough days still. There's days this past week I'm wanting to carry that burden at all. Right? I've been faced with obstacle after obstacle this past week. It's just been like testing to see
Yeah.
whether I want to carry it. And a lot of times this week I've said no. And it's been coming back pretty hard now, but I'm truly starting to see it like today, right? Like today I've started to have great conversations with athletes during my check-ins. I've started to help some people out for free. Like I don't care, I'm going back to my roots of it all
Yeah.
just to help people succeed. And so it's, I'm making decisions that athletes need. Like literally, I took, for example, I have an athlete that needs a GI map, right? Needs a gut test because I've been like begging for one to get done. Well, I just decided to pause her payments for the next few months, get the test done, and she'll just repay me back later for
Yeah.
the few months of coaching,
That's
right?
awesome,
Because
dude.
I want to get it done. Because in my right, I'm not getting them the results they want to get to because I know something's off.
Mm-hmm.
And I know something's off from prior testing that's been done before and history and everything like that. So like it's not like I'm just seeing all these signs and symptoms of gut issues, but like I know it's there. And I've seen the lab work and I know it's there. So I just need to see what it is. And I'm like, you know what? If I get you the results I get you, it's gonna come back to help me anyway.
Yeah.
Right. And it will show when you finally get the results and you're going to go to your friends and be like, hey, Anthony did this work. Right. And he actually became a slight bit of a charity to help me here to
He
do it.
cares. That's
Yeah.
what matters.
Like exactly. So especially I want to kind of bring that up too, because my growth has been very slow. Still at like 17 athletes right now, 17, 80 athletes. But since I've started to
Wait,
change,
hold on. That's very respectable, though. Like, that's extremely respectable. A lot of people don't even get past like 5 clients for their training or coaching, and you work a full-time job, and you podcast, and you do a lot. So you're doing great, dude. You're doing great.
I know this is where I'm very hard on myself to actually do it, and to say where I'm at, because there are a lot of circumstances that are changing, and that are continually moving, right? So there's a lot of ways that I try to show up, and sometimes it's hard to show up in all those spheres, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it is. I've almost doubled my roster since I started the Noble Pursuit. There's a
That's
reason
awesome.
because it aligns to me.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, if I can help someone get better, I do. I have guys I still coach for free. I have guys I still coach for minimal. right? I have people that have gut issues. I help people change careers. I haven't even posted this yet. I've seen a 22-year-old figure out that her job out of college does not align to who she is and is figuring her life out and has made decisions that she's so much happier with. I've seen a 57-year-old who started with me 6 months ago figure out that her company wasn't valuing her, or she didn't feel needed by her company. She didn't feel valued. Ended up leaving that company to go start a new job, which she's so excited to start. Right? I've seen a 26-year-old who I started coaching 3 years ago finally leave the nest now and go move to a whole different to a state like 14 states away. Right? I've seen 20-year-olds start to just chase their life and start to chase like actual purpose. Like this is what I'm building. Like it's not just a place of physique enhancement. Yes, honestly, I do coach bodybuilders. I do get them results. Physique enhancement, it's easy. But I'm seeing people get to the point where they're starting to thrive, and a lot of them owe it to me. And I'm like, no, it's you decided to take the burden and bear it yourself. I just help you see that some of the aspects in your life could change. And I point things out. People don't understand my coaching. My coaching is very I talked about this on my other post. I'm okay with being misunderstood in how I coach. I'm okay with being misunderstood in my methods because my methods are tried and true. Right? The nutrition stuff, supplements, easy. It's this. And people don't want to understand enough as a coach. They wonder why their athletes aren't getting where they want to get to. They're wondering why they aren't getting where they want to get to. And a lot of it just comes down to dealing with the shit that's actually in your it's the mental piece. So I invest a lot into it. So it comes down to it. 17 athletes is quite a bit because
Yeah, it is.
I'm handling people and I'm trying to get them to become the best version of themselves, which requires a lot. It requires a lot. It's the biggest burden, right? And so I put some of that burden that they carry for themselves on me because I'm the one trying to guide them the right way.
You're more of a coach. Like you're more than a coach. You're more than a coach. You are like you're really a team with them. Like they can lean on you.
Yeah,
They can trust you.
It's never a
Exactly.
you. Like
Exactly.
the answer is never a you when it comes down to it. It's we move. It's how do we move? Because how we move together is how we will succeed. Right? It's always been a we. Because
Amen.
I need them to get to where they can get to because I'm already working towards that myself. So I'm showing up for myself the way that I need them to. And sometimes I don't, to be honest. Like I said, past week, haven't. I actually apologized to a few of my athletes about that. And they're like, it doesn't go unnoticed. And you're allowed to have bad days, which I agree. Which just then you just come down to showing up as best as you possibly can some days. And eventually it pays off. So for the longest time, that's where I was, where it's just like, just show up. Just continually just show up and do the best you possibly can. And every day you're going to do better. And
you have an obligation to yourself to do that, to show up every day.
I posted it today, right? When you
Did you?
Well, I didn't post it today. I'm someone said it. Let me get the caption because this is a big one. That's going to help a lot of people. Just 1 second. Where is that?
I think there's been a lot of big ones. I'm gonna have to clip like every minute in this and post it up as well.
It's by being committed to yourself, you are committed to helping those around you. So if you can't commit to yourself, and it's a funny thing, I see a lot of coaches who can't commit to themselves. They let themselves go. And they say it's the expense of the athletes, right? But by being committed to yourself, it's how you can commit to helping those around you. And it's why people get left behind. It's why you move on from friends in life. Why you move on from certain situations. It's because because you may be committing yourself, they might not be. And if they aren't helping, and they aren't contributing to you becoming better, because we're humans, right? We can't just do it ourselves. That's not what
Yeah.
we're meant for. It's not the species that we are. It's not how we're bred. We're bred to help each other kind of get better and show people what it means to be committed to yourself. Because that's how you help others. Is people see you, they see how you act, and then they move on.
Yeah.
And they see
Dude,
you
this
in the
right
light.
here, this is another way of that, of just
Mhm.
helping people, just a conversation. I mean, I know you've had a lot of episodes of podcasts. You've been podcasting for a long time. And I know
Yeah.
that, like, I know probably, and you've probably said it before, like, if you could just help one person with one of your episodes, like, everything was worth it, right? Like, just one thing
Mhm.
from one person, one conversation, that is, man, that's amazing. Right? That's all that matters. But okay, I do have this question for you. After you get
Yeah.
done with an episode of recording, do you get like a high? Like, do you feel that dopamine hit after you get done? You're like, oh, that was amazing. Like, dude, I want to keep talking to people.
I just answered this the other day, actually. It's funny. I answered this on the podcast with someone. Actually, literally yesterday, we were talking about when you're in true alignment to yourself. When you're in true alignment to yourself and what you're doing, and when you have a genuine connection, you build energy, you build
Mhm.
synergy. And when you do that, you do get that, because this is what it's about. This is what I've always said is so different about what I try to do with my podcast is mine's just a genuine conversation. I'm trying to help people see people who are being put on pedestals be human, because
That's huge. God.
so many of us are just so many of us, whether we're a coach or anything, like we may be insignificant according to the world, right? But for a lot of people, including our athletes, they put us on this pedestal of like
Mhm.
seeing us above. And so my goal is to kind of help people. Honestly, like there are lessons to take away and things to implement, but I really just like to have genuine conversation and see where it goes. And because when you do that, you bring it back down to earth. You bring it back down to here and now. Who is this person?
Yeah.
And it's just this person and myself. There's not a list of questions. I don't even podcast with a list of questions, man. I've stopped outlining. I've completely stopped outlining.
That's awesome.
I just follow the conversation and try to understand this person's thought process, because the way that they think may be different than the way that I think, and it challenges me.
I like
So
that.
I do get a big high from it because I am forced to think.
Yeah, and that's a good point you bring up too, because the more people that I've talked to and interviewed, and certain people I put on pedestals that I've brought on here, right? And then I talk to them, and it's a face to face conversation. Granted, it's not in person, but I'm like, okay, guess what? That person breathes the same air I do. They talk with their mouth, they hear with their ears. They're a human being. Wow, there's no difference other than just they have maybe different skills. They have been in different timelines. They've done different things. Like, what's stopping me from doing something like that? You know, what's stopping anybody from doing that? It brings it, yeah, all back to the same playing field, all ground level. It's so cool, man. And that is one of the coolest things about, for me, what I've learned from this podcasting thing, and the amount of people that just want to come on and talk. And I very much appreciate you jumping on here. 'Cause everything you say, I feel like is very insightful, and you think about it. Um, you think a lot faster than Jordan Peterson, though. I will say that.
That's why. That's why. I mean, he has like 40 years on me. It's okay. He's got 40 more years of life that he has on me. So there's only so much I can
um,
think about. But it forces you to be present. It's more so the
yeah,
presence of it. The actual I am here now with one human. I am not anywhere but here. There's
yeah,
all this other things going on right here, right? There's everything that I can focus in on. I am focusing in on you and what we are
yeah,
creating, because this is it's such an opportunity, a genuine opportunity, when I see someone take a step back during the episode and they're like, hmm, or you get them thinking and you get them changing the way that they see things, right, in the episode, because they sometimes don't
Yeah.
see the same perspective that you see. So when you do that and you have that impact, that's a genuine impact. That's priceless. And we don't get paid for this, right?
Oh, I mean, that'd be
Eventually,
sweet, but
eventually I
yeah.
will. Eventually, my goal is to travel around the world and do it. To truly be honest, that's my goal. I would love to coach and travel around the world and podcast and have people come visit, make this a little live studio right here
Yeah.
and record and bring people in, um, and be able just to do it. And I full heartedly believe I will, because I know the conversations I'm having now. I know the gates it opens up. I know people. I know how to connect with anyone in a room. People have asked, what's my skill set? My skill set is understanding people. It's my innate ability. That's why I'm so good at it. Honestly, I'm not being cocky. I'm
No,
being
that's
real.
good.
There's a reason why I've been able to podcast for so long and develop the network I have developed, because I understand people. I understand people, how they function. I understand people,
This
how
is
they
so
work.
funny. You verbalized a lot that I've tried to verbalize myself about myself, because I feel like you talk about people taking a step back and being like, oh, I didn't see from that perspective. But like everything you're saying, I'm like, no, like that is my perspective. So it's cool when someone else comes on with the same perspective to know that you're not alone, right? Like you're like, okay,
Yeah.
more people care about progress more than anything else, because that's all that matters to them, and helping other people chase down progress. That's it. That's
Mm-hmm.
what everything's about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, this has been really cool. A great experience for me.
See?
That's awesome.
Exactly. Right? This is where
Yeah.
you just had it, where you just step back and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
But it helps me because I haven't been a guest on a podcast in like 2 years or whatever,
You're
or
great,
like a
dude.
year and a half or something. But
You've been a great guest.
it's like I'm here and I'm able to like work out my thoughts and able to like see how people get to see how I think now.
Yeah.
Like you've given me the opportunity to see how people can see me and how I think. And honestly, I mean, we've also brewed up some fucking fire hits out of this one.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
being honest there. There's a lot of hits on this one. so
No,
so
definitely.
it's just it's why I was so grateful when you asked to come on, because I don't get these opportunities myself when it comes down to it.
Well,
So
there's I- like you. I mean, dude, I like want to just talk to every person, and even every wall can find, hey, how long you been here, wall? Like, who built you? Like, I want to know everything about every single thing, right? The ins
exactly.
and outs.
Yes.
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 So there's certain, I want to talk to everybody, but there's also very certain people I want to have, because one, well, this is my podcast and I want to talk to the people I want to talk to about the topics I think would be good. But at the same time, like it's again hard for me to verbalize it, because there's so many thoughts and so many things I want to say about it. But this is such an eye-opening experience. But I want this to be about the person that comes on, right? I want to be about the, hey, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do that? What makes you tick? Like
Yeah.
you talk about your skills being people. Yeah, dude, I can't write my name legibly. I'm not that great at math. Good thing I have a system at work to do that for me. But my job is like my full-time job is to recruit nurses, and then I run a team of recruiters. So I take people that don't know me and sell myself on why they should trust me to have their finances, their traveling, their life in my hands. And I've had some of the same people for the last like 4 years, almost 5 years. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I love people. That is it. That's all I
Yeah.
care about is people.
That's why
I
you'll
I
succeed.
exactly. I mean, I wish I could like design cool things on Photoshop and like edit my podcast, but like, and there's a little skill.
Your creativity is not through that. Your creativity is through you, which is
Exactly.
not for everyone. It's very different. I wish I could too, man. There's times where I'm like, why the fuck can't I take dope photos, or why can't I do this or create dope artwork, like, and make that like my living? But then I'm like, my external my external way of expressing my art is through my voice and understanding and
Yeah.
having that outlet. So it's a very rewarding thing. I mean, like, I'm doing it again, man. I already did it once,
Yeah.
right? I did it once for 3.5 years on a podcast, 240 episodes,
That's
241
insane.
episodes, and I'm restarting now. And
Glad you're
so
back.
So it's like, yeah, I lost my way a lot with it, right? And when I was wondering why things weren't ticking the way they were anymore, and I put a lot of my soul into that first podcast, like a
Yeah.
lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of information, a lot of time spent with people, a lot of free time spent with people because I loved it. Like I just remember my senior year doing that and being so amped when I got like my first 100 download episode. I was like, holy shit. I was like, God damn boys, look at it, look at it. And then like 4 months later, I got my first 1,000 download episode. And it
That's
was
amazing.
like, holy Lord. And so it's just like sometimes it just takes a break. And for some people, it's really slow, right? Consistency with the podcast is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't believe me, but it picks up steam. When you have conversations like this and you invest into people, it picks up steam pretty quickly. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
It's it's really cool. And I felt that same thing you felt when I took a step out of fitness I stopped training really hard March of 2019.
Yeah, I was
And
looking
then
at your page because how long have I been following this guy for? And then I'm like, oh, he's going back. I was like, wow. I was like,
yeah.
he's actually a really good bodybuilder.
Oh, well, thanks.
You know?
Yeah, it's something I've been always very passionate about. Kind of like you, man. I was in, and I don't want to relate all the same things because we all have our own same path. But sophomore year of high school, I was like 5'4" and 98 pounds. I can relate to some of the bullying and some of the massive shit talk, and that was fuel for the fire for a very long time, very long time.
It's not
Um,
anymore. You've evolved.
Exactly. And sometimes I still try to channel that, and it doesn't work the same as it
Nope.
used to. But man, I wish it did because those were some great training days. But
Oh, those were some crying on the hack squat training sessions with a lot of fucking screaming and a
yep,
lot of yelling. That's how I first. So when I started with Mark, that's how a lot of my training sessions was.
yep,
Now I'm at a lot of peace with myself with it, and I just am very present with how I'm training. I'm
yeah,
not
you have a different
angry.
perspective.
I'm not angry. But man, sometimes I look at it. I look at where I was like a year ago, or like a year and a half ago. I was looking at some videos with my training partner, and I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "I can still take it there, but like it requires a lot to take it there. Like,
Yeah,
like
every day.
that, like
Yeah,
looking there when I was doing it, I was like, damn, I could do that the flip of the switch every single set." And I was like, I need to get back to that fucking thing. And I'm gonna get back there because now I'm fucking charged up. Now that I've been sitting here on the bench for a freaking month out of the gym, like I'm probably gonna be out for sick for another 2 weeks. So I'm like, I'm gonna be fully
dude.
charged back up to just fucking end myself on a leg press.
Being able to flip the switch is very important, and I think that's a skill that people lack. But yeah, dude, I just got back into training really hard again. Actually, funny enough, I hired on Austin in May of 2022. Bullshitted around until I found out my wife was pregnant in January. And then I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. I'm going to have potentially a son or daughter. I don't know which one, but I'm not going to be a fucking loser. I'm going to train my body physically to see its capabilities so that my kids can see that this is what is supposed to be happening. Like, I have to walk it. I cannot just talk it because my parents walked it every single step of the way. Like my dad, don't tell many people this on the podcast, but my dad qualified for Mr. Universe back in the day, NPC judge, like my height, 5'5", 198 shredded on stage. Insane look, like insane. And I'm like, okay, well, my dad did it. Well, my ass better do it too, man. I got some
Yeah.
shoes to fill. But I found, man, it feels so good to be back in. And so many people have started just like being like, oh, hey, dude, you're back. And I'm like, damn, you knew I was gone too? Like, and I chased money. I chased a lot of things. And granted, I'm kind of glad I did because I learned a lot about myself. I developed other skills. But there's a piece of me that was missing so much. And now it's back. And my last show was 2016. I told Austin I want to compete again next year as well. And actually, I did a 6-week prep, really hardcore, right after the little Candida SIBO bit, and that was a terrible experience. 6 weeks, balls to the wall. I looked pretty bad, but I wanted to prove it to myself that like this gut shit's not holding me back. Like I'm gonna get up there. Like
Yeah, you
I'm gonna.
probably just brought it right back.
Well, so yeah, and I really started figuring it out in 2017, the year after, to figure out how to get all this stuff sorted out, and
Mhm.
luckily it all worked its way out. But um, very long-winded way to say, yeah, don't lose your path. Anybody out there, don't lose your path.
Or if you lose it, you will regain it.
You can come back.
The universe will give you an opportunity to do it. So
Yes.
when it comes down to it, there's going to be scary moments. There's going to be a lot of scary moments. For myself, it's very much imminent here, coming soon for me. But when you embrace those and you embrace them as exciting,
Yeah.
right? There's a real audio that I always wanted to use and I have not used it yet. And it's Ben Stiller and Robin Williams from Night at the Museum. And he goes, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow." And Robin Williams goes, "How exciting, isn't it?" And you're like, and when you realize you have an opportunity to determine your path and figure out you in that process, like the only way you're going to do that is when you take those leaps to
Yeah.
do that. So the universe will give you signs. So don't be afraid when your gut tells you to do something. Like dive into it. Like really, it may be very scary. It's going to be frightening. But
Yeah.
it's either frightening or it's either frightening and you go on that adventure of a lifetime, or you
Frightening
decide
in
not,
death.
or you decide to carry the burden of regret and everything
Mm-hmm.
that goes with that, and you bury the burden of who you could possibly be by not doing that. So you really get to decide whether or not you go on the adventure of your lifetime or you decide to succumb to every other feeling that is there, the devil on your shoulder telling you not to. So it's a choice.
Dude, it's got real serious with the lighting. I like this. This is
I
nice.
know this got really, I know I didn't mean for it to do that, but it's getting dark here.
No, it's all good.
Ohio's not really light, man.
No, it's all good. Well, dude, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, man. And I feel like we could probably talk for the next, I don't know, 4 days and probably not get tired of it. But we'll definitely have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
up for it whenever.
how can people find you in the Noble Pursuit?
Okay. So they can find me on Instagram at Anthony_Spada, SPADA_. Probably just my name will be out there somewhere. You can find the Noble Pursuit at the Noble Pursuit Coaching on Instagram too, as well. Everything typically just goes through my Instagram. I write a lot of captions that are very
The bangers.
philosophical. For some people, they are bangers. For some people, they aren't. But for people who want to listen, they definitely have a lot of value in them. So go follow me there. If you want to go check out the podcast too, it's the Noble Pursuit podcast on Spotify and YouTube. So go check it out. You can also go check out my old one too as well. It's on there. If you want to go see literally like how I've grown throughout the last 4 years of my life, you can go check out the Ace of Spada podcast too as well. It's definitely not who I am anymore, but it holds a very special chapter in my heart over who I was and how I became who I am today. So if you guys are interested in that, there's 241 episodes to listen to. You have a lot of content to just roll through. So yeah, that's where you can find everything.
That's awesome. Well, I do have one last thing for you.
Yeah.
You told me the other day Return of the King was your favorite Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
Perfect. We can end it
That's
right
like
there.
literally, why not? It's the
No, yeah.
greatest film. It is the greatest film of all time. The battle scene is amazing.
I knew we were boys.
The Rohirrim speech, King Theoden's speech is
Yeah.
amazing. If you don't get charged up when the Rohirrim get get to Minas Tirith, I don't know what you're doing. So you need to go watch that scene, because if you watch that scene, you will definitely run through a brick wall. Okay. And if you don't, fast forward about 45 minutes, you'll hit the scene with Aragorn in front of the Black Gate, and you will definitely run through a wall too then. And so it is quite possibly the best film of all time. No if, ands, or buts whatsoever. Greatest movie. Most Oscars, by the way, for a reason. It's okay.
Drop the mic. Amen. And if you ever have any issues with motivation for the willingness to change, watch those 2 scenes. It'll amp you up.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, dude. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, thank you.